Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Rockford students set a record. Hundreds of them take part in a lesson outside of school. The Coronado Theater is their classroom. Passenger safety is the focus of an emergency hearing in the U.S. Capitol. Regulators warn recent airline incidents could be a sign of things to come. And local high school students get the chance to have their questions answered about potential careers. Some of them say it's the only opportunity they have to ask one-on-one questions about the future. Good evening, I'm Eric Wilson. Mimi Murphy is off tonight. Rockford Public School students will spend the next few days outside the classroom and inside a fantasy world. Their lesson involves culture, the arts, and a major part of Rockford history. Nikhil Delgado was at the Coronado Theater for the event. Nikhil, this program has been impacting kids for years.
That's right, Eric. Reach for the Stars started in the state line 2 decades ago. The idea behind it is to give 4th grader students a professional performance unlike most have ever seen.
It's fun to watch other people perform and see all the cool flips and stuff and what their talent is.
Students from Ellis Elementary, including Pete Green, Kaija Charles Ballard, and Asia Turner, had always wondered what was inside the Coronado Theater. Wednesday, they not only got to see beyond the front doors, but also experience a show.
And my favorite part was the skating part.
Mine was when they flipped through the rings.
My favorite part is when they were doing flips and stuff.
Stepping inside the nearly 100-year-old grand structure, the students tell me this is better than what they ever imagined.
Some of the things look like illusions. Like the sneaky one, it looked like an illusion.
The balloons looked like they were like big bubbles. And she kept throwing them in the air. She kept throwing them up, they looked like bubbles.
Executive Director of the Friends of the Coronado, Beth Howard, says Reach for the Stars was started in order for every child to experience the cultural arts. So each year, the students are treated to a free performance. This time, it's the Shanghai Circus.
Not all kids have the advantages, whether logistically, financially, whatever it is, to see cultural arts.
Beth hopes this experience will enrich their lives and they'll continue to be lovers of the arts.
It's about community pride, it's about exposure to the cultural arts, it's about their experiences in their education.
While the students tell me they were thrilled with the day.
They were good performers, and they encourage you to do it if you want to do it in the future.
This year, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders got in on the fun because many students missed out on the show due to the pandemic. Tonight, the entire community has the chance to enjoy a free performance of the Shanghai Circus. Doors open in a few minutes at 5:30. No tickets are needed. Just show up. Eric?
What a cool experience for those kids. Nikhil, thanks for sharing that. The Rock County Sheriff's Office warns people about fraudulent phone calls. Scammers claim they are part of the department. Here's how the con works. The person on the other end identifies himself as a member of the Rock County Sheriff's Fraud Department. That caller asks the victim to check financial accounts to make sure there is no unusual activity. The department says no one from the Sheriff's Office will ever call people asking to check their accounts. If you get a call like this, call the Rock County Sheriff's non-emergency number. It's on your screen there, 608-757-2244. We also have that number posted at mystateline.com. The so-called ComEd 4 trial gets underway with opening statements in Chicago. Those 4 are Michael McLean, a longtime confidant to former Illinois Speaker of the House Mike Madigan, former ComEd CEO Ann Pramaggiore, ex-City Club President Jay Doherty, and former ComEd lobbyist John Hooker all face charges of conspiring with outside consultants to influence and reward Madigan when he was Speaker. In opening statements, prosecutors said ComEd poured $1.3 million in payments to Madigan's people and put a Madigan-backed person on the ComEd board in exchange for different legislation between 2011 and 2019. Defense lawyers estimate their opening statement should take 3 hours. Witnesses will likely be called to the stand beginning tomorrow. Lawmakers want more answers from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. The state fined the insurance company $600,000 last week. Regulators say the insurer violated the Network Adequacy and Transparency Act. The state released a report on the investigation into Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois when the Department of Insurance announced the fine. That report laid out a list of problems with the network. Some lawmakers, like downstate Republican Steve McClure, don't think the fine is enough by itself. He believes there are even more issues.
And that's another reason why there should be public hearings, because members of the public need to come and bring all the problems that they've been bringing, all of their individual senators and representatives, and put those out in public.
Now we're investigating, the day one investigation ends, we start another one to see if they're following all the rules.
Senate Democrat Doris Turner has plenty of questions too. In a statement, she said, quote, "We have to put the uncertainty and lack of transparency behind us and find a way for all parties involved and the public to have a better understanding of what's going on." Transportation officials gather in Washington, D.C. for an emergency FAA safety summit. That summit's a response to a string of near collisions between aircraft at some of the busiest airports in the country. The NTSB is investigating at least 6. Some experts say these incidents are a sign of an overburdened and understaffed air safety system. Aging infrastructure is also a concern. Analysts point to January's failure of a nationwide pilot communication system that left U.S. planes grounded for nearly a day.
These recent incidents must serve as a wake-up call for every single one of us before something more catastrophic occurs.
The biggest mistake we can make as an industry is to become complacent.
The NTSB wants new safety technology installed to reduce the chance of runway incursions. So far, those systems have been placed at 40 of the nation's 5,000 public airports. March Madness gets underway tomorrow. Chances are you or someone you know will gamble on the games. Sportsbooks expect record numbers of bets in Illinois during the tournament. While you can't bet on Illinois or Northwestern, experts believe those schools being in the tournament should boost state betting numbers. Sports wagering is already a big business in Illinois. Gamblers placed $1 billion in bets in January alone.
It's just the growing popularity of sports wagering. Some of those numbers are national numbers. I know in Illinois they bet close to $290 million just on the March Madness tournament last year. So we expect that'll be a little bit higher this year, just because, it's just become more prevalent and more part of people's lives.
Both Illinois and Northwestern play their first game Thursday. State line students get the chance to see what their future could look like. A career fair took place at the Backroad Center on Boylan High School's campus this morning. Young men and women got the chance to meet representatives from various businesses and organizations throughout the area. That includes industries like aviation, government and public administration, and human services. Both organizers and students say the day is important exposure to options that are out there.
Some people, they're not shy, but they don't have the means to go out and explore more about different careers. But here, the careers come to you, so you can truly learn about the things you want to do.
This was the second year for Boylan's career fair. The Biden administration's EPA pushes a new rule to drastically limit the amount of toxic chemicals known as PFAS in American drinking water. We told you a couple of weeks ago the Winnebago County Health Department issued its own PFAS warning. Environmental groups and lawmakers on both sides of the aisle praise the EPA's move. Raquel Martin looks at why there's some added urgency.
The EPA is ready to crack down on toxic PFAS chemicals in the drinking water of millions of Americans.
Significant public health win.
Melanie Benish with the Environmental Working Group says the science is clear.
Exposure to PFAS chemicals are linked to serious health harms, including some kinds of cancer, reproductive and developmental harms like lower birth weights and lower sperm count.
The EPA's proposed rule would drastically reduce the acceptable level of 6 well-known PFAS compounds in drinking water. Bruno Piggott with the EPA's Water Division says once finalized, local water utility companies will be required to test to keep up with new standards.
And notify the public if levels of these PFAS exceed the proposed regulatory standard.
And he says the Biden administration set aside $9 billion in the recent infrastructure law to help utility companies adapt.
We are walking along with communities to make sure they have funding available to make the improvements in their systems.
For years, PFAS has seeped into waterways from factories that use the chemical. PFAS has been found in everything from nonstick frying pans to cosmetics. That's why Binish says the EPA must also address the root of the problem.
The responsibility should really be with the polluter.
The EPA agrees.
There's a great deal of urgency for getting this done.
Piggott says more PFAS regulations are on the way. In Washington, Raquel Martin.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, it's quite a feat. We started off in the teens this morning. We've made it into the mid and upper 40s, a couple of spots in the 50s here late this afternoon and evening, so a lot of warmth in play. Had a little sunshine early on, but our skies are filled with cloud cover, and we maintain that southerly breeze. We take a live look with our SkyTrack camera out in Freeport. This is brought to us by Rockford Career College. Those clouds are going to stay with us as we go through the rest of this evening. We are going to stay dry tonight. There may be a little drizzle in a couple of locations, but rain will hold off until tomorrow late morning and then through the afternoon. This ahead of our next storm system beginning to take shape out here to the west. That'll pull through, not quite as strong as what the last couple of systems have been. So we're not looking at some really heavy rainfall with this, but a steady rain that'll take us through the afternoon. This following a very strong storm system that now continues to move off the northeast coast, bringing a lot of wind and a lot of snow up through the northeast the last couple of days. High pressure departing here tonight allowed our winds to turn to the south and bring our temperatures into those 40s. You're at 44 right now in Freeport, 47 in Rockford, 50 in Rochelle and Dixon. Those temperatures will stay pretty mild through midnight. In fact, some of us might not even drop beyond 40 degrees tonight. We keep that cloud cover going into the day tomorrow. Southerly winds will stay with us. A little drizzle early on, but I think a better chance for rain will work in as we get closer to about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. This will stay light and scattered throughout the afternoon. Could see that pick up a little more as we get about 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Overall, looking at about a half an inch, maybe up to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall by the time this is all said and done. Notice our temperatures are still in the 40s as we get through tomorrow evening, but look what happens here out to the west. Another strong cold front comes in. This looks to move through after about 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow, so that'll shift that wind quickly to the northwest and really drop those temperatures. We may see a couple of snow flurries or a light snow shower or two mix in, change over briefly through midnight, but I don't expect any accumulation with that. Northerly winds will push those temperatures by daybreak on Friday in the 20s. So quite a difference from Thursday afternoon to where we're going at for Friday morning. Wind chills will be down in the teens. We'll stay in the 30s. I think we've got some sunshine coming up for Friday afternoon. Cloud cover comes back in, and we could see a couple of snow flurries that'll continue going into Saturday. So as I mentioned with the rainfall, you've got about 1/4 of an inch up to half an inch of rain coming, 3/4 of an inch in a few spots. Nothing that'll cause too significant of a concern with any flooding because it is coming throughout the day. So we do have some time with that rainfall to kind of soak in. Winds, these will be a little bit of a different issue. At most about 25 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon, but look what happens when that wind direction shifts to the northwest. Now you're talking about a 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gust throughout the day on Friday. That'll carry over into Saturday, which will bring our wind chill factors, Eric, down into the single digits once we get into Saturday morning. Temperatures on Saturday struggle to make it much above 30. Warming, though, going into next week.
Now sports with Reagan Holgate.
It's a happy day here in Rockford as the Ice Hogs are finally back home after a 5-game road stretch. We're live here at the BMO right now. As you can see behind me, the stands are pretty empty, but those should fill up here soon. They're expecting a little over 2,000 as the Ice Hogs are set to host the Manitoba Moose. Tonight is the 5th meeting between these division rivals. The Hogs are 2-2 through the previous 4 matches. Rockford is currently 2 spots behind Manitoba in the Central Division standings. The Ice Hogs have fallen to 5th with 63 points. The Moose are in 3rd with 69. Tonight's game will be our first in-person look at Rocco Grimaldi and Hunter Drew, guys who were added at the trade deadline. The Ice Hogs struggled on the road. They only managed to score 1 goal in each of their last 4 games.
I mean, the new guys came in and made an impression positive right away, and then obviously getting some of the guys back from injuries here was positive. We play with pace, and their habits are really good defensively. When we do that, we're a really good team, and we need to get back to that. You know, obviously it's been a little bit of a challenge with guys being injured, guys being up and down, and just kind of get that group.
You know, you got to expect there's a little transition period. Guys are kind of getting to know each other's tendencies, but I think we brought in like a lot of good character guys, and you know, the trade deadline's over, so what we have in the locker room is what we got to work with.
Puck Puck drop is set for 7 p.m. tonight as the Ice Hogs look to ignite a playoff push. And the news we've all been waiting for has finally surfaced. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets next season looks like it's finally a lock. The deal isn't final yet, though, but Rodgers confirmed today on the Pat McAfee show that he wants to play for New York. He said, and I quote, "Since Friday, I made it clear that my intention is to play for the New York Jets." Here's a little clip today from what the soon-to-be former Packers QB aired out.
At this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Okay.
And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get.
He also noted initially that he had intentions of retiring after surfacing from his darkness retreat. That was almost a month ago, but since then things have changed. We'll have more on this coming up later tonight. And some more local high school athletes have made their college choices. Belvedere North's linebacker Nick Winters has signed with Wisconsin Lacrosse. Winters was the Nick 10's Defensive Player of the Year last season. He was also named honorable mention All-State. He helped the Blue Thunder post a 7-2 record, which tied for second in the conference. Wisconsin Lacrosse is a successful NCAA Division III program. Nick's older brother Aaron already plays there.
They always come in ranked like top 25 with D3s. A very good program. They always go to the playoffs every year, and very solid coaching staff. So they work hard over there.
And at Hononegah, track and field standout Jacob Klink signed with Illinois State University. Klink is a thrower for Hononegah, excelling in the shot put and discus. Klink went to state last year in shot put.